Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this toy photography video. Actually, not so much photography going on in this one, but this is going to be fun. This video is going to be completely about how to weather your action figures. And when I say weather your action figures, I mean, giving them a little bit of battle damage or making them look like they've seen some stuff. So the really great thing about weathering your action figures is it's a really fun and easy way to make your figures not only look really cool, but also make them totally unique and different to probably anybody else's action figure that exists. You could weather them so much to the point whether it's a totally dramatic and totally different looking action figure, or sometimes it's just a very subtle little difference to change it up and make it look a little more lived. So I'm going to go over like a few different techniques on how to weather your action figures. And with each one of these techniques, you could do them individually just as is, or you can mix them all together. I'm going to be mixing all of these together to make one really cool action figure today. So let's go over the stuff I got to do this with. So first, I just have a action figure. It's just a normal stormtrooper, nice and clean, and he's not going to be so clean after this. So next, I just have some very basic black acrylic paint. Really cheap stuff. Then I also have some different kinds of shoe polish. Weird. And then I've got some different types of finishes. So we got a matte finish, which I will probably be using. This is the stuff you can kind of spray on after you finish painting it or whatever, and then it'll kind of make sure it's not sticky anymore, and it'll give it a nice little finish on the end. And this is just like a normal kind of finish as well. This is more of a glossier look, but either one will work great. And then I have an X-Acto knife, just a sharp tool that we can use for things. Be careful with this. And that's really it. We really don't need a whole lot to do this, and honestly this is more than you probably will need. Also, all of these supplies in the video that I'm using to make this guy, I'm going to have linked in the description, Amazon links, so you can go and get it yourself to make it nice and easy for you. So if you want to do that, check it out. So before we go and actually start weathering this guy, if you do enjoy this kind of thing and you enjoy toy photography and just how to do different things with your action figures, taking pictures, making them look awesome, definitely would recommend subscribing. I've got a ton of different tutorials and content on the channel, so if you do like it, I would appreciate it if you gave me a subscribe. Thank you so much. Oh, you know what? I think I totally lied. There's one more thing that is very important for this, and just like an old rag is going to be a big game changer with this. So I'm sure you could use an old shirt or whatever, but the rag is going to be very important. So let's get into it. Let's start doing this guy. All right, so we are all set up here with our trooper, nice and clean. And I don't really have a nice desk for me to sit down at, so I always do all my work on the floor, which might not be ergonomically sound, but here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the X-Acto knife, and I'm going to just make a lot of different little cuts and marks and slits all over this guy. And so once we have those little marks and cuts and things, we're going to kind of fill them in with some paint to kind of make them stand out. So let's get started. So if you can tell, we've got quite a few little cuts and slashes throughout the figure, and you probably can't really tell that they're there right now. I mean, because it's white, they're just kind of little cuts. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take the black paint, and I'm going to kind of make some little dabs here and there on the figure. And then I'm going to, when the paint is still there and still very wet, I'm going to take the rag and I'm going to kind of rub it in and rub away most of it, but some of the remaining paint will still be in the cuts, and it really will make them stand out. So if you look at this figure I made a while back, the entire figure I did with this technique. I made some little cuts here and there, and then I added the black paint and wiped it away, and then there we go. He had all these cool little slits and everything. So I really think this technique is cool. So I'm just going to do a little bit of this one for this guy, and then we're going to do some other things too to add to it. Okay, so here he is so far. So this is just with the slits, and then taking the black paint and kind of dabbing it in the little slits and wiping it off. And so far he already looks kind of cool and a little bit, you know, battle damaged. But he's still a little clean. He's just super clean with some slits. So that's when we're going to move on to the shoe polish. And the cool thing about this paint actually is it comes off pretty easily, so if you do make a mark that you don't really like on the figure, you can kind of just wipe it off with some water or a little bit more with the rag, and it'll work pretty well. And so not just the black is possible with this kind of thing. You could use brown, you could even use some greens to give it some more earthy kinds of tones, or reds, or whatever the heck you want to do. This technique is definitely not limited to the way I'm doing it right now. You can do all kinds of different stuff with just the paint. So the shoe polish technique, I actually cannot take any credit for. I've learned this from a friend of mine on Instagram. I'm sure you probably know him, Black Series, or BLKSRS. I call him Bulkers, even though I know that's not how you say his name, but Bulkers. I got this from him. This technique is really awesome. This kind of stuff is really easy to find. So we're just gonna kind of do the same exact thing with the shoe polish as with the paint, but we're going to kind of dab a lot more all at once, and we're going to kind of wipe it all in, you know, as much as we can. And so the polish will actually kind of just go into all the crevices, even if it's like in between like the belt or the parts on the leg here, and even some of the slits too. It'll go into all those crevices and kind of stick around more, and then make those little areas stand out a little bit more and make them look a lot more dirty, and it's gonna look really good. I'm going to do the same with the black shoe polish too, but I'm not going to do it quite as much, maybe in just a couple areas like towards the legs, because that's probably where he's dirty, because that's where he's walking a lot. Maybe towards the back a little bit, maybe a little bit on front. All right. All right, this guy is looking awesome so far. It's amazing how much that shoe polish really makes it a very subtle but also really strong difference all at the same time. And it goes really well with the black paint inside the slits and the cuts there. I really like how he's looking so far. And right now he's really sticky. So actually the shoe polish dries pretty quickly, pretty similarly to the way the paint does, but it's a lot more sticky. But that's okay, so that's why we have the finish we're going to put on more. I think I'm going to put a little bit more brown on him. Maybe right. Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit more brown on him. And then we might be almost done. So I think he's done. Actually, you know what? Before I put on the clear coat, I want to put a little bit of this a little tiny bit of silver spray paint on him. This is just normal silver spray paint, just to give him a little bit of like splashes of like some silvery, shiny metal kinds of tones to him. I think that'll go well with the blacks and the browns, just a tiny little bit. And then we're going to use the matte finish on him. So I'm going to go outside and do that. So the silver's taking a little bit more to dry because it's like a thicker actual spray paint. So in about a minute or so, I'm going to add on the matte finish. So using this matte finish was actually an idea I got from another guy on Instagram. I'm sure you know him as well. His name's Visual Force. I got one of his figures and it had this beautiful, soft, nice matte finish on it. So I think from now on with my stuff, I'm going to use this nice matte. It's going to make a huge difference. So once he's dry, I'll spray that on there, keeping him, you know, about a foot away or so when I'm spraying it. And then we're gonna be just about done. And here he is. Not too shabby. I think the little bits of silver, whoops, the little bits of silver that I added in here actually made a very subtle but pretty awesome difference. I'm very happy with this. He definitely looks like he has been through some stuff, and he totally looks like unique and different. Oh boy. He totally looks different and unique. So here's a comparison of how he looked beforehand and after. I'm definitely loving the after very much, and you might not be able to tell in the video, but he is very shiny and glossy, and he is not. He is got that nice soft matte finish, which I really like quite a bit. So very happy with this guy. Pretty much everything was very quick to dry. All of the things we used dried pretty quick, except for the spray paint. That was just kind of a last second thing. So this, if you do end up using a little bit of normal spray paint, give that some time to dry, but everything else here dried within minutes, really. So I am very happy with this guy. This did not take me very long, probably an hour or so just to go and do all this, including filming and everything, so that's pretty awesome. I'm really happy with the way he came out. Really like him. He kind of looks a lot like the Remnant Trooper, so if you couldn't get your hands on one of those Target exclusive Remnant Troopers, you could just do this. But I don't think this video would be quite right if I didn't take a toy photo with him. So I'm gonna go out and take a cool shot with him and yeah, see how he looks. So thank you guys again for watching. This photo and everything will always be posted on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, that kind of thing. All linked below if you want to follow my work that way. If you did enjoy, please consider giving a like and a subscribe. But yeah, thanks again for watching. If you do try this, I would love to see how your figures come out, so please tag me in your photos or whatever. Thank you guys again. See you in the next one.